Hey y'all, and welcome to this episode of Southern Fried. Hey, usually we jump right into the introduction with our guests, but I'm jumping on real quick today just to tell you about a couple things regarding this episode. It's really fun. I got the opportunity to interview Avent Vanhorn, which I know from Mississippi State. She was my advisor, and I was a tour guide at Mississippi State. She does a lot more than that at the university, but that's how I knew her. And she's got a great story, but some great stories too that she tells. And so I just want to jump on and give y'all, first off, a little Mississippi State clarification. There is a lot of Mississippi State in this podcast. If that's for you, awesome. Listen to the whole thing. It's great. Actually, listen to the whole thing even if you don't love Mississippi State, because it's a really good episode. But if for some reason you want to jump ahead to the non-Mississippi State stuff, that starts around the 14-minute mark. So if you're a loser and you want to do that, feel free to. You're not losers, guys. I'm sorry. That was a bit too far. But if you do just want to jump ahead, maybe you've got things to do, 14-minute mark, probably a good spot for you. Hey, I want to give you some clarifications on some stuff. If we say Old Main, we see that later in the episode. If you're not a Mississippi State person, that's an old dormitory on campus. If we say the word Roadrunner, that's a tour guide on campus. We have a couple Mississippi State just jargon things in here, so I thought it'd be nice to tell you that as you're jumping into this episode if it's your first time. And hey, last thing, guys, I did not expect to talk this far in this little intro, but here we are. If you are listening on like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, awesome. Great. I do recommend that you maybe hop over to YouTube at some point. We post all of our episodes on YouTube. Listen to this episode. If you're listening right now on just a streaming platform, keep doing that. But I would recommend hopping onto YouTube and just like catching this episode maybe another time, because we do have some fun pictures. Avent brings some things from her time working on set of a movie. Little teaser right there. And just some good visual things. So I recommend kind of checking this out on YouTube because it might be worth it. All right, I talked for way too long. Now let's go to past Charlie, who recorded the episode. He's going to say, hey, y'all, welcome to Southern Fried again. So just bear with him, okay? He didn't know that I was going to do this to him. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hey, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Southern Fried, the show that explores the South through its people. Living in the South, many of us are often impacted by those we're around most often, right? From teachers and coaches to pastors and mentors, there are many people who influence who we are and how we see the world. When I was in college, and if you've listened to any episode ever, I went to Mississippi State, and you know that. As a tour guide there, our advisor in that position, she left a big impact on me, and I know many other people that walk through the doors at State. It's not often that you walk into a university building, a lot of times you're filled with anxiety because you have some tests to take, but walking into the doors where she worked, you were a lot of times filled with comfort just because you knew the people there were going to be great. And I think a lot of people who were tour guides at Mississippi State can attest to that. And obviously, most importantly, without her, I may have never ended up with my wife. So really thankful for this guest today. When I think of somebody that really embodies the South, she comes to mind. So please welcome to Southern Fried, Avent Vanhorn. Hey, Avent.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Charlie, for that sweet introduction. I'm sure you're able to tell exactly where I'm from the minute you hear my voice.
Yeah, we can get right into that. Proud Mississippi girl. Tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Yeah, so born and raised in the Mississippi Delta in Greenwood, Mississippi.
Heck yeah.
So we joke sometimes that I grew up on an island, and people joke, but to get to Greenwood, you have to go over a bridge. We're surrounded by water.
Yeah.
In Greenwood, Mississippi. So, yeah, I went to Pilla Academy. You do not spell it Pilla. I know some people are shocked by that.
Yeah.
It is Pillow Academy. Went to
Go
school
Mustangs.
there.
Yeah, go Mustangs.
Go Mustangs, yes. Grew up there, surrounded by farmland, and just, the epitome of a Delta girl, I'm afraid.
I'm a proud owner of I think a Pilla Academy Mustangs basketball sweatshirt.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did you acquire that?
Well, one of my college roommates, shout out Smith Lyon, was a Pilla alum.
Smith Lyon. Yes. A good Mustang.
Yes, a great Mustang. And we went over there one time. It was like we had an egg bowl that was being played as the good Lord intended on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
And so I didn't want to go home and come back. So I went with Smith to Greenwood on like Wednesday, which my mom was not happy with because I think in her mind, whatever, I could have come home. But while I was there, I acquired the Pilla Academy sweatshirt.
Well, good for you. I know you look good in green and gold, so that's a good fit.
Amen. And I just, because I brought it up, I want to actually just ask you real quick, and maybe you can't comment on this. But when do you think the Egg Bowl should be played?
That's a good question, and this probably isn't a popular answer, but I don't care.
Wow.
As long as we win.
Yeah, but a lot of in recent memory we haven't, so it's like,
Yeah. But growing up, it was on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
So those are good nostalgic memories. So I'm good with that. I would rather it be on Thursday or Friday. I'll say that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I don't really like Saturday because then you can't really make as many plans.
I agree.
But then even being on Friday, it kind of breaks up anyway.
So-
Are y'all coming?
We will be there for the 11 a.m.
Good.
kick.
Come on. You know where to find me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll come by.
Yes.
But the 11 a.m. kick makes it a little hard.
Well, we'll be there before and after.
Okay,
So
well, we'll come by.
come when you can. Yep.
So you grew up in Greenwood. Is that a fond place for you? Like, do you have good memories of it? Is it not,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. No, for me, I definitely do. We actually just had our 20-year high school reunion this summer.
Wow.
Graduated with 77 Mustangs, and we had the best class ever.
Yeah.
I mean, our grade was just incredible. There were 19 of us that went to the same church, and so I have the best youth group memories
Wow.
in the whole world. And then when we were all together a couple months ago, it was just like no time had passed. So we were just really, really fortunate to have such a great group that we graduated with. And I do think part of that, though, I know that people kind of give the Delta a hard time, but there's not a whole lot to do other than hang out with each other.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one reason that you made a nod to the work that I do now. I think that's where the importance of relationships came from. Is that's what you did in Greenwood. You hung out with people.
Yeah.
Because there was no mall. So you went to Sonic with your friends. You hung out at people's houses. Yes, you hung out in cotton fields, all the things. But yeah, I have wonderful memories of Greenwood, and everybody really is like family. Yeah, I have great memories of Greenwood.
Is 77 a big class for the school you went to?
It is one of the biggest.
Thought so. I thought so.
Biggest and the best.
My pillow people, I feel like we're in like the 30s or 40s.
Yeah. We were one of the biggest for sure.
And so growing up in Greenwood, you kind of alluded to like hanging out the Sonic and when you say cotton fields, what do you do out there when you're hanging out in a cotton field?
I think it depends on who you ask.
Okay.
Yeah. So for us, there are a lot of back roads and things. So you could just ride around and listen to music and do your thing. And then there were a lot of field parties that people had, and you would go out there and hang out and do your thing. My friend group, and this is honest to God, we weren't really wild.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of board games and things like that. But we would go to some parties and just hang out. But yeah, I mean, and it's beautiful. I don't know. I know you said you've been to Greenwood once, and it does depend on the time of year. But when the cotton is blooming, it's beautiful. And it is a beautiful place. And we joke to this day, when you're coming into Greenwood from like Carrollton, Winona side, there is a spot, it's called Valley Hill. And when you go down Valley Hill, it is flat for as far as the eye can see. And we all joke that your blood pressure just goes down the minute you go down Valley Hill, and you just get a little bit more centered.
So when you grow up in Greenwood, is your first experience away from Greenwood Starkville when you started going to school there, or had you been around a bunch of places?
I mean, one of our trips that we took with the school, we went to Europe for 2 weeks, and I'd been to New York, and I'd been snow skiing a little bit. So yeah, I mean, definitely traveled. And then my brother and his family live in Texas. And so I'd been around, but let me tell you, coming to Starkville, I'd never lived somewhere with a super Walmart, Charlie. or
That's big
a lot
time.
of things.
Yeah, that's big time.
There was an Arby's in Starkville when I moved here, and that was huge. There wasn't a Chick-fil-A when I was in college.
Yeah, that came later.
That was a little disappointed, but disappointing. We got the one in the Union my senior year.
Okay.
And that was pretty.
That's groundbreaking. Yeah.
It was pretty groundbreaking. But we didn't have a movie theater in Greenwood, so coming to the big city of Starkville, got to go to the movies whenever we wanted to. So yeah. Big deal.
And so that's you left, you graduate, you go to Starkville. What was your time as a student at Mississippi State like? Big fan of the school? I mean, obviously a
Incredible.
little bit.
Incredible. Yeah. Yeah. It was absolutely incredible. I do look back, and the majority of my good friends from high school did come to Mississippi State. There were a
Okay.
couple that went other places. So that was comforting. But then the sorority that I pledged, go Trout,
Of
there
course.
were only really two of us that went Trout. And so a lot of other friends were pretty split in other sororities. And so we got to make a lot of friends, a
Yeah.
lot of girls who were Trout's that we didn't know before. And then my best friend to this day, who was my roommate then, she went Katie, and then we had a couple go Co. And so we all got to make like 3 times as many
Yeah.
friends as we would have if we would have gone another sorority. And then, yeah, just really had the best and the sweetest time, whether it was class or sorority stuff and date parties. I was very involved in the student
Mm.
association, and I loved my SA friends. And I've even talked to a lot of them recently. There's been some tragedy in a really good friend's life, and we got to know each other through the student association. And we all banded together to go to his son's funeral a
Wow.
couple weeks ago. And then another friend was having a hard time, and a couple weeks ago, some of us went up there. And so it's just been really sweet and hard to remember those memories with your college friends. And now
Yeah.
we're kind of going through a different season of life where we can cheer for each other through marriages and babies, but also we are at the age now where people's parents are aging
Yeah.
and unfortunately like losing people that we love. So it kind of all comes full circle. But yeah, I mean, Mississippi State, I truly couldn't have had a better experience. And I say every day, the reason that I work here is to try to give back to a place that gave so much to me.
Yeah. Because now you work at Mississippi State and you also went to school there. Like, okay, I'm 3 years removed, I guess, from being a student at State. And like, I'll be honest, when there's stuff going on, I like it's like when student association drama is going on, I still kind of want to know about it. Do you ever find yourself like, oh, I'd like to know about the tea that's
You
going
know,
on
it's
campus?
so funny when we were actually all together a couple weeks ago. Two of my friends, so I was the chief of staff for Blake Jeter, the SA president at the time, and some of my other SA friends, we were all talking, and I didn't even know anything was going on, Charlie.
You work on you.
I just, you know me, I live in my
Yeah.
little Montgomery
Yeah,
Hall
that's fair.
bubble,
That's fair.
and I didn't know
But your
anything was
friends
going
did. Like they
on.
were interested.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Some of them definitely were, and I was like, can y'all give me a little insight into what you're talking
And
about?
they
Because I'm not really sure."
and they wanted you to give them the insight.
Yeah, and I was like, "Sorry, I'm not sure. I live in Montgomery Hall." I joke about I need to build like a Murphy's bed over here that
Yeah.
I can just pop out, take a nap. But yeah. So,
What is your do you have any good sports memories from your time at Mississippi State or were as a student or were we just awful when you were there?
well, yes and no.
Yeah.
So I think, well, my top 2 favorite memories, I would say one is from my senior year of high school. I know you didn't ask about
That'll
that,
count.
but
We can squeeze it in.
yes, my dad took me to a basketball game, and it was when Rick Stansberry was the coach. And Rick Schroudies was the coolest thing on this
Yeah.
campus. I
The
know you're
student
probably not
section.
familiar.
The student section. Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
Rick Schroudies, and I will never forget. Obviously, our athletic department and the marketing team do an incredible job now, but they still had the fire and they would turn the lights off.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, I will remember that like it was yesterday. We were playing the other SEC institution in the state.
Sure.
And in the first 5 minutes, Rick Stansbury got kicked out of the game.
Great.
And it was just like,
Is this the
this,
choke game?
yes, yes.
Great
My
picture.
dad let me get a Rick Stansbury, like a Rick's Rowdy shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just epic. And then this was not while I was in college. So I was the majority of my college time was with Coach Kroom, who is just a dear,
Yeah.
and we love him. And
Yeah.
when he wasn't working at Mississippi State anymore, my dad called me and was like, "Can you take Coach Cream a cake to his house just to let him know how much we
That's sweet.
appreciate him?" And I was like, "Dad, I don't think Coach Cream needs a cake from me, but we will wish him well from a distance." But I think second, just that even though we weren't very good when I was in college, it's like we didn't care. And that's what is really funny to me when people get so hot and bothered when Mississippi State isn't winning. I want to be like, did
Often.
you just become a Mississippi State fan?
Yeah.
Because I'm most. Like we've never, and my dad tells this joke. He's like, you think y'all have been through dry spells. He was here from 58 to 62 and they won one SEC game.
That's terrible. That sucks.
And it was the year of the 2-point conversion when the 2-point conversion came out.
Wow.
And we
Wow.
with the 2-point conversion. But then I guess my second favorite athletics memory, football specifically, would be when we became number one. It was
Yeah,
raining.
has to be.
It was wild, and, I mean, it was just surreal. Like, I remember walking back to the tailgate and meeting all of our friends, and we were like, "What just" I mean, it really was a fever dream. It was crazy.
Were you working
Crazy.
for state at that time?
It was.
Okay. Yeah.
I was.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah, it
I
was crazy.
Okay, well, and I'll out myself here, but you talk about people who are newly state. Like, I wasn't even a state fan then, so
Yeah.
I don't get to appreciate it all the way. But my wife was, so I can live vicariously through them.
Yes.
I have
We'll
that.
indoctrinate you.
Yeah, and I have been. I mean, this pennant I have above me, I'm pretty sure I stole from your office. So
That's great, and I think I saw your diploma. Maybe?
I don't
Somewhere?
know. No, I think my
Okay,
diploma.
maybe I made that up.
You'll like this.
Okay.
On the pennant, right at where it comes to a closed corner,
Yes.
there's a little shiny knob. Like,
Okay.
that's my 1878 pen.
I think I can barely see it.
Yeah, little
Charlie,
knob.
what's 1878?
Thanks for asking. For the tour guides at Mississippi State, the road runners, if you give 78 tours, that because the university was founded in 1878, so we have the 78 Society for those who have given 78 tours. Once again, Southern Fried is proud to be sponsored by, of course, itself, Southern Fried for the time being. Guys, thank y'all for listening to this podcast. If you're sharing, if you're telling people about it, it's so great. I posted an episode last week with my good friend Allie Davis, and so many people have reached out to me and told me they listened and told her they listened, and it's so cool just to see people interact. I'm talking to people that I haven't talked to in years because of this podcast. I'm getting to have great conversations with folks, and just like the DMs and the texts and all of it, the comments. It's just so nice to hear from people. Please, please, please share this podcast with somebody this week. If you're thinking, man, what should I get Charlie for Christmas? That's a really good question. Thank you for asking. And I would tell you to just tell somebody about the podcast. That would be a wonderful Christmas gift for me. So thank you guys for continuing to support, continuing to listen. I hope you're enjoying this interview with Avent. We're about to get into her time on set of a movie. Still teasing it. But if you know Avent, you know probably what movie it is. And if you don't, it's a really cool experience and story that she's going to tell us about. So let's get back to the show. When you left Starkville as a student, though, because now you work for the university, were you straight towards, let me go work for a college? Or was there something, was there different paths and roads that you took in between that?
Yeah, crazy question. So, I really enjoyed my time in my sorority and being involved in different campus ministries. And where I really found my place and my home and my best friends was, like I said, in the student association, doing essay cabinet and then being on exec there. And so loved to plan things. And that's when I found out that you could work in higher ed for a living. And I knew that I wanted to go to graduate school here and do higher ed, the counselor ed program. But as the Lord would have it, I was supposed to take a Maymester class to graduate from undergrad.
Okay.
And went back to Greenwood. My dad, my maternal grandfather, was very sick, became very sick unexpectedly, and ended up at the last minute calling my advisor and being like, hey, we're not really sure what's going to happen. I need to withdraw from this Maymester class. And so just 2 days after that, I'm still in Greenwood. I get a call from our Convention and Visitors Bureau director. Her name's Paige. And she said, I don't know if you've heard yet, but there's a movie coming to Greenwood. And I was like, a movie? Okay. Coming to Greenwood. This is crazy. Do tell. And she said it's going to be called The Help. It's based on a book, and they're looking for a local to work in the production office to help them navigate Southern life.
Insane.
And all the things in the Delta. And I said, well, I have this one class to finish in undergrad. I don't really know if that's a good idea. So talked to my parents, and they were like, you have to interview. Like,
Yeah.
you just have to. Let's see what happens, once in a lifetime experience. And so I still didn't have a whole lot of confidence because I was like, there are going to be all these people interviewing, you know. So I went to the production office one day at my scheduled interview time and met Russell Allen, who is now still a dear friend of mine, and interviewed for this job as a production assistant in the production office for the Academy Award winning movie The Help,
Big time.
and was offered the job
Right then?
the next day. The next day.
Okay.
The next
Wow.
day. And then my first day was supposed to be on a Friday, and tragedy would have it, my grandfather actually passed away the first day I was supposed to be
Mm.
working, and so we moved it to Monday, which was my first day, and so from May of 2010 to the end of November, I was a production assistant for the movie The Help.
And that was your first, I mean, I guess you hadn't
First job.
graduated. So, but that was your first job.
My first job.
And
Yeah, I turned 22
while on site.
while on The Help, while on the set. Yep.
What? I mean, okay, so did you give them insight? Like, do we watch scenes where it's like your fingerprints are on that, that part of the movie? How incredible was it to
Yeah.
get to work with all these people?
It was really interesting because I didn't think that someone like me could really be valuable.
Okay.
But they were talking about there was a scene that ended up getting cut, but they were talking about, okay, well, so and so Stewart, who was in the movie, played by Chris Lowell, there was going to be a scene about like hunting.
Yeah.
But based on the time of the year it was, I was like, well, y'all know you can't hunt deer
Yeah, right now.
with a gun. And they were like, what? There's like times where you can hunt with certain things. And I was like, so there's bow season, there's like rifle season,
Yeah.
you can hunt turkeys at a certain time, deer. And they were like, so they had to kind of like revamp. And then two, there was something else. I was talking to my dad about at one point, and I don't think this scene got cut because they had like already filmed it, but I was talking to my dad about something, and there's a scene where Skeeter goes in the dry cleaners and gets her dry cleaning
Okay.
and puts it in her car. And I was talking to my dad about it, and based on when the movie was set, he was like, there was not plastic dry cleaning yet. So it was just like little things like
Yeah,
that.
that they.
So I don't know. I guess fingerprints, as you would say. So I definitely try to I don't have very many pictures from the movie because
Yeah.
I try to play it cool, and I was on the DL and we're just trying to do my job. But so product placement, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's so if somebody's drinking Starbucks in a movie or has a Coke,
Yeah.
99 times out of 100, they have a contract with the movie. So
Mhm.
Starbucks is paying for, I have a Subway cup right now. So this is
Classic.
not sponsored by Subway.
Yeah, but such a good Starkville meal.
However, this could be product placement
Yeah.
for Subway. So obviously there was like, I don't know when Starbucks was founded, but that was just not the time and the place for The Help. So
Yeah.
we had very little product placement. We did have Coke, but so there was no like Barnes and Noble or whatever. And so our art director, Kurt Beach, who I owe a lot to, love him. He taught me a lot. He called me in his office one day and he said, I just want you to see something. And I actually found a printout. I was going through some of my Help stuff last night for you.
Thank you.
And he pulls this up on his computer.
Oh, that's cool.
And he says,
That's
Avent,
in the movie?
Yes. He says, this is going to be the name of the bookstore.
And for those listening, it says Avent and Clark Booksellers. That's insane.
And I said, what? And he said, yeah, we can't name it a real bookstore. And anytime we have this kind of stuff, we try to name it after people on the crew. And you're the bookstore. You're the bookstore owner. Congratulations.
I can't wait to watch The Help now.
You have to. And then, oh, wait, this is Kurt. I tried to pull some. Well, I guess nobody can see us. So
No, they can. We can do it.
That's Kurt and Avent look at her bangs. She's killing it.
Different
with those
lady.
bangs. Yeah. That's Kurt and Avent in front of her bookstore.
What was a day-to-day for you like on set?
It was always so different. If somebody needed something, like if a walkie-talkie broke and they needed more batteries, like I would run stuff up there. But then, like there was one day that we made airport runs a lot because the closest airport that most people could fly in was in Memphis.
Gosh.
So I burned up the road to Memphis.
Yeah.
Right there at I-55. And So, I mean, I was so fortunate. Like, I got to pick Bryce Dallas Howard up from the airport several times
Did y'all
and
chit
Sissy
chat?
Spacek. Oh, yes. It was wild. And I remember the first time I picked Bryce up, she said, "Do you have time, like, if we run some errands?" Because Sweet Greenwood just doesn't have a lot.
No.
It doesn't. And I was like, "Yeah, for sure. Whatever you want to do." And she was like, "Do you mind if we like run in Whole Foods?" And I said, "Yeah, I've never been to a Whole Foods." And she was like, I mean, it was like
Yeah.
told her that I was going to give her $1 million. She got so excited to go to Whole Foods with me and
Yeah.
like show me around Whole Foods and like show me her favorite stuff. And I mean, she was just so gracious and sweet. Sissy Spacek was the same way. She has a daughter. Her daughter's name's Skylar Fisk, and she's a musician and an actress. And she gave me one of Skylar, her daughter's CDs that I still like love her music. And
Yeah.
so it could be airport runs, it could be taking stuff to set. I mean, there was just it was crazy. One of my favorite stories, there was a actor, I'll let them remain nameless for the sake of the story because
Okay.
I guess it could break HIPAA or something, but they woke up and had I don't really know if it was pink eye or something, but some really bad eye issues. And they told me, and I was like, "Oh, my uncle's an optometrist. Hold, please." And within 10 minutes, my uncle Pacasco was on the set of the movie
That's hilarious.
treating this, I mean, main character
You
for,
saved it.
I don't know about that.
I mean,
But, yeah, and
who else were
then
they? What else were they going to do in Greenwood? They didn't know who else to call.
they didn't. And then so funny. And Monday morning we come. And the crazy cool thing was too. So Emma Stone, Chris Lowell, Bryce Dallas Howard, Octavia,
Yeah.
Viola.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on. But we were in Greenwood and there was nothing to do. So we were all friends.
That's
And
fun.
so like came to work on a Monday morning. They're like, "What'd you do this weekend?" And I said, "Well, my aunt and uncle, the same optometrist, they live way out in the country, and every summer there's like a road on their property that goes near a creek, and my Uncle Paul builds a slip and slide, puts like Bisqueen on
My
the
gosh.
road and then runs hoses, and then we get dawn and then you go into the creek. So fun." And I thought I was going to be so judged, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Can we go next weekend?" And I was like, "Sure." So the next Saturday, we
That's
all
awesome.
pile in cars, and I mean, literally, like everybody on the cast
On this slip and
comes
slide.
out to Carrollton, and we slip and slide.
No pictures of that, I'm guessing.
I don't. I'm telling you, I have barely any pictures. It's so tragic. But yeah, had the best time, and they were like that. And even like Octavia came back to do an interview a couple months after that,
Yeah.
and somebody like a reporter said like, "What's your favorite memory?" And she said slip and slide.
Well, and all because of
So
your uncle.
all because of Big Paul.
I
Yeah.
think, to me, one of the funniest things about that is when you're like, "Oh, my uncle lives out in the country." To them, they were probably like, "You mean more than this?"
More than where we are right this second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Do you have
Crazy.
anybody that you still keep up with from the set?
Yeah. So a couple people I worked with, like my boss Russell and his wife Monique, they have a son who is Nick's age, our son.
Yeah.
And so we talk to them a lot. And then I still am pretty close with Octavia. We talk every couple months. And it was fun. She was the grand marshal of the homecoming parade at Auburn
Oh, yeah.
a few weeks ago, and my dear, dear friend Rhett Hobart works there. And so he was able to FaceTime me when he was with her.
That's fun.
And so we got to chat. And then it was funny too to segue into this, but there was a scene that's in the movie where there's a guy playing with some kids in a pool, but we had to have a certified lifeguard.
Of course.
And so they were like, "Avent, we need a lifeguard." So I was calling in all my friends for all these random tasks. And Rhett Hobart, who is now, Rhett, forgive me, I don't know your title.
He works
Like
at Auburn.
Deputy AD of External Affairs,
Yeah.
maybe. Rhett, I'm sorry. I apologize. But they needed people to literally come pull leaves off trees for a storm scene. And so I like called in my friends,
Got him out
and
there.
he was one of them that literally like pulled leaves off trees all day. And so when he was FaceTiming Octavia, he was like, "I actually like met you one time and like pulled leaves off trees all day." So it was funny. It was funny. But yeah, got to be an extra at one point. It was
What
wild.
was that cut, or is that still in there?
No, that's still in there. I have a picture. Don't worry.
Good.
This
is good.
But everybody I worked with, like I didn't want, that wasn't like a desire that I had, but they're
Yeah.
like, "Amy, you have to be an extra." And so when I went to try on my costume, they revealed to me that they want, and I really think it was the hottest day of July that Greenwood, Mississippi had ever had, but they were like, surprised you're going to be pregnant in the scene. So I had to wear this like pregnant suit, but I don't know how well so this is me right here in this
That
pregnant
is
suit.
hilarious. Why
So
did you have to be pregnant?
they just wanted to torture me, I think. And they thought it would be funny. But that is from the scene where Yul May is getting arrested. And then they
Okay.
like pan to this group of people and you can see me for just a couple seconds. But then a couple of my friends and I, we were in a different scene. They let me like invite some of my friends, but it got cut.
Oh. How often
So
do you go back and watch The Help?
we do when it's on TV. Nick thinks it's really cool
Yeah,
because
that
he's
you
like,
worked on
Mom,
it.
it's your movie. And I was like, well, I don't love it.
Are
So,
you
yeah,
on the
and it
credits?
brings
Does
back,
it say like your
yes.
title and then your name?
Charlie, I have an IMDb page.
There's no way. I'm looking it up.
I do. I have
Is
an
it your
IMDb
maiden
page.
name?
It is. It's Avent Clark. And there's a fun
IMDb.
fact, like
There's
if
no
you just
way.
go to the
Oh,
Help, if you go to
production
the Help
department.
IMDb page, yes, there's like trivia on movies. And one of the trivia questions is the name of the bookstore is actually named for production assistant Avent Clark, who worked on the movie.
This is awesome.
You didn't know
Okay.
you invited a celebrity to the podcast.
Well, I knew I invited a Starkville celebrity, but to get all of this is
Yep.
this is
And then I think
crazy.
one of my favorite stories. So there was a Mississippi premiere in Jackson for Mississippians. And then we had several parties after that I kind of helped with, no pun intended. And Octavia, again, who is still a dear friend,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't know, and I'll see you again. Love you so much. And she was like, I'll see you next weekend. And I said, what's next weekend? She was like, the premiere in LA. And I was like, Octavia was no, like, I definitely
Not for
didn't.
me.
That's so funny. Like, she was like, you're going to be there. She was like, I'm going to have my assistant email you tonight.
That's
You will
so
get
cool.
2 tickets. And I was like, okay, thanks. That's so sweet. Whatever. Charlie, I woke up the next morning in my email inbox.
From her.
2 tickets. 2 tickets.
That's awesome.
So my friend Price Davis and I went.
In LA?
In LA. The
That's
red
awesome.
carpet, all of it. We were
Did you
like,
take
what
any
are we doing?
pictures?
I have a couple, but the cell phone quality wasn't really great. So there are a few. But we had a blast. Like, it was so much fun.
What? Okay, so did you not leave this experience thinking, like, I'm going to work on movie sets for the rest of my life?
There was a minute. So a lot of the folks that I worked with, their next movie was New Year's Eve. I don't know if you remember.
I don't know if I know
Or
this.
you're familiar with that movie, but it's kind of a sequel. There's Valentine's Day and there's New Year's Eve, but it's a
Okay.
ton of famous people who were in that one. And they asked me to come, and there were a couple of days there where I was like, I think I'm gonna do it. But then the more I talked to my parents, and they were very like, whatever you want to do, we encourage you to do it.
Yeah.
But I was very valuable in Greenwood.
Okay. Yeah.
But if somebody looked at me in New York City, Manhattan, and said, we need an eye doctor, I would have said, Google.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I would have done as well as I did in my hometown. And so, and two, I mean, we worked 12-hour days, usually 6 days a week.
Sure.
There really was no time off. And I did know that higher ed was my calling. And I had already planned to go back in the spring. So I didn't. But then it was kind of the best of both worlds because John Norris and Tate Taylor, who worked on The Help, Tate was the director. They still really have great Mississippi roots. Tate grew up in Jackson,
Okay.
but he has very strong Mississippi roots. They have a beautiful home in Natchez and Get On Up. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that movie either. It's about the life of James Brown, but
Okay.
like, we were able to go to set, visit them,
Yeah.
the director of photography. There were a lot of people that worked on The Help, that worked on Get On Up. And it's funny too, because Tate he called me to work on Get On Up, but I had a full-time job. I was the marketing and communications coordinator in housing and residence life at Mississippi State. And it was really hard for them to understand that I couldn't come work on the movie for 9 months.
You can't just drop
Mississippi
everything.
State wasn't going to hold my job.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of hard to explain to them. So yeah, I didn't go work on Get On Up. I didn't go work on New Year's Eve. But I mean, man, the memories and the growth that I have from that experience I mean, I grew up a ton and had a really, really good experience. And I made a couple more notes. One of my first days too, I don't drink coffee to this day. I mean, like every now and then, but I'm not a coffee person. And so I remember, they were like, okay, Avent, you're the early shift in the morning. Make sure there's coffee when we get here. And I was like, okay,
How?
how hard can it be? And Charlie, this is before Keurigs.
Oh yeah.
Before Keurigs. And so I was like, I can do this. So I didn't ask anybody any questions. And so what any normal person would do, you fill up the coffee machine in the back and then you fill up the pot with water. I mean, that was like in my head.
Because
That
you
would
need a lot
work.
of
And then
water,
I
I
put
guess. Yeah.
and so I like walked away and did something and came back like 10 minutes later.
Everywhere.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta clean this up before everybody gets here. This is so embarrassing. And so I did, but then I was like, I gotta break it to y'all. There's no coffee. Somebody else is gonna have to make it. I've never made it before. So that was kind of wild. And then one of the very first things I got to do, and it still kind of makes me teary that it was just crazy, but there was a dialect coach on the movie.
That's
She was
funny.
part of the crew because everybody was from LA or New York
Sure.
and they didn't know how to talk like me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would meet with the dialect coach and she would ask me questions and she would record me.
That's hilarious.
And that's what Emma Stone would listen to learn the Southern
You
dialect.
talk about, okay, that's obviously your fingerprints all over the movie then.
Yeah. So she
copied
if you think
you.
her Southern accent was good,
Or if you think it was bad, then you're just wrong.
you have me to thank as well.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
You have me to thank as
she was
well.
listening to a
That
2
was kinda
Delta girl.
cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then this was like one of the greatest and most embarrassing stories. But I did, before I knew Russell really well, he and his wife, my dad lives out in the country, but his peripheral next door neighbors also have a guest house.
Okay.
And they told me, they said, some people from the movie are going to rent our guest house. I was like, okay, cool. And then I found out it was my boss, Russell. And so I was trying to kind of keep it on the DL because I didn't know how all this was going to go. And
Yeah.
went to work a couple mornings later and he was like, Avent, you won't believe our neighbor. He woke us up this morning. He had a shotgun out there and was killing armadillos at 5 a.m. I mean, what is going on? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
dare
Oh,
he.
that's awful. And then a couple weeks later, they found out that my dad was their next door neighbor and it was my dad that woke them up killing the armadillos. So, I mean, we just have stories like that for days. That was Travis.
Were you living with them, like with your dad during that time?
I wasn't.
Okay.
So my
Phew.
grandparents had a house in Greenwood that they weren't living in. My grandmother had moved to Oxford to an assisted living there. My aunt lived there. And so, but I lived in my grandparents' old house. So I was but I saw my dad all the time. This is good too. One day we were shooting the scene it was actually at the courthouse, but it was the winter benefit
Okay.
scene where they go in. It's where Celia Foote throws up and all the things. And it was where the chocolate pie gets bid on and won. But Sissy Spacek gets dropped off by a gentleman. And that morning at work, they were like, we need somebody that can drive a stick shift. Like the car that we have for that scene is a stick shift. What do we do? And so I was like, and nobody could find anybody. So I finally called my dad and I was like, Dad, do you want to be in the movie tonight? And he was like, sure. And so Travis Clark Jr. is who dropped Sissy Spacek off
That's
at
awesome.
the Christmas benefit.
That's awesome.
So you can hear him. It's a red car. It's epic. So
Gotta learn how to drive stick. It's important.
you got to. You might be able to be in a movie.
You never know.
Yep.
Any other big help memories that stick out to you?
I mean, every day was. I joke that it was like the best of times, the worst of times, just because I was the only person from the South,
Yeah.
But we had a blast. But I will never forget them coming in one of the first weeks, and they were like, "What is?" I mean, they're like, "What is this?" I was like, "Those are mosquito bites."
Oh no. Y'all
So I had to go buy all these. Have you seen those like coal bracelets?
Yeah.
And
everybody
so
was wearing those.
everybody was wearing those. And they're like, "How do they not get to you?" I'm like, "I think I'm just immune, but the mosquitoes." And the chiggers, they got to them.
Yeah, that's bad.
They got
Your
to
first experience with chiggers, I will like give them some grace there. You're kind of like, what's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was incredible. I did pull this. I have my script.
Oh, that's cool. Does it still have notes and stuff? Did you take notes?
Well,
I don't
I
know.
didn't write it.
I don't know. Maybe you were like, oh, I need to bring this at this, make sure I have this. I don't know. I've never worked on
Yeah.
a movie.
But it was really cool. And then I did, I knew I would regret it if I didn't do this, but I did get everybody to sign it. So these are Abigail and Ella,
Okay.
the May Mobleys
Oh, okay.
signed it, and then everybody else
That's
signed my
cool.
book. So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, we had such great memories and just all hung out together all the time. Because again, it's Greenwood. We don't have a whole
Yeah,
lot to
there's
do.
nothing to do.
Nothing to do
When you,
except hang out.
yeah, and go to the con. Did you take anybody to the cotton fields, or were you just like, we'll just go to the slip and
No,
slide?
that was also a hot take. So they had planned to do a scene in July
Yeah.
in a cotton field, and I was like, I hate to break it to you, there's not going to be any cotton blooming in July.
It's just gonna look like a field.
So then they kind of had to do a little shift of sorts. So,
Yeah.
but then it did start blooming as we wrapped. Yeah.
So you finished with the help. You didn't take him up on any offers, and you end
Didn't.
back up at Mississippi State, right? So have you
Did.
been in Starkville since?
I have. I call myself a boomerang. I came to Starkville, went back to Greenwood, and then came right back to Starkville and haven't left since. My husband, John Michael, works here too. And
Yeah.
then our son is at the partnership school.
Go
right
Yellow
down
Jackets.
the road. Go Yellow
A lot
Jackets.
of mascots today, but it feels right.
Yes, but it's worth it. And so he's right here on campus with us in the 7th grade. So yeah, haven't looked back.
What is it about Starkville that keeps you there?
The people. I mean, whether it's like I'm doing the EYC, which is Nick's youth group meal for Sunday night. When I say I'm cooking it, I called Miss Janet, who owns Stromboli's,
There we
and I
go.
said, Miss Janet,
There we go.
I need you on Sunday. And then
She's helped me out at a youth group event before too. Yeah.
yes, she's just the best. And then, I mean, we've had several SOS situations with John Michael and Nick, and I'm like, George, Trey, Michael,
Yeah.
George Sherman, and they're coming through for us. So I mean, it really is the people. Allison, State Floral, one of my good friends. Like you just can't replicate the culture in the community here, I don't think. And so just to have thousands of people that you can count on, and
Yeah.
then I mean, the Roadrunners. That's not my full time job. I oversee the marketing and
Yeah.
communications for undergraduate admissions and enrollment. But I mean, y'all, I'm still going to call you a Roadrunner.
And I will still call myself one.
I mean, they make the days here and make it so fun and keep me young. I learned what yassified means a couple weeks ago. Do you know what that means, Charlie?
No, I don't.
Okay,
And
well,
I
let me
work
teach
in
you.
youth ministry, and I don't know what.
Well,
that
you
means.
need to learn and you need to say it.
Yeah.
But it's when you like make something super fancy.
Mm.
Like if you're working on something, you're like, it just needs to be yassified.
Yassified. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just learning something new every day.
We're
Some things I'm grateful to know. Some things I wish I'd have never heard.
We're a big 6-7 youth group, so I hear that.
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
good.
I do know what that means.
Yeah.
But
Don't we
Yeah.
all at this point?
yeah. Love Starkville. Love the dogs. Win or lose. Here for the dogs. Doing it for the dogs.
Would you call Starkville a small town? Because you're from Greenwood?
This is the way that I explain it to prospective families and students from Dallas, Atlanta, Birmingham. I kind of flip the script and I say, Charlie, what do you like to do on the weekends?
Hang out with my friends.
What else?
Go to the movies, watch a baseball game, stuff like that.
Okay, let me tell you, you can do all that right here in Starkville.
Boom. I love all right, let me give you I'll give you a hard one. I love going to Target on Saturdays and just walking around.
You know, that's okay. Tupelo, which is less than an hour from us, getting a Target any day now.
Okay.
Tuscaloosa, Target. So, and I have to remind people too, like if you live in Houston, Texas, or Phoenix, Arizona, or Little Rock, it's going to take you about 30 minutes to get anywhere.
Sure.
With traffic, we don't really have traffic unless it's on a game day. So you can go do all those things. But then I was in a town 2 weeks ago that had a Target. I bought a bunch of stuff I didn't need.
Exactly. It's so true. You're saving them money.
So we're saving money, but then we have all these cool locally hometown stores that you can get stuff and you're not going to have everything that everybody else has from said Target.
I think when I look back on when I was a prospective student, because you'll do the like info sessions sometimes.
I don't anymore.
But did you used to?
I used to. Yeah, I used to.
Would you have done it in 2017?
Yeah, I didn't stop till I got my new job. So yeah, I did it until the summer of 2020.
I think when I look back on when I took a tour as a state prospective student, I Somebody was up there and was like, I remember Target getting brought up, and then whoever was up there, and this is why I feel like it was you, was like,
Gosh.
you can, like, we have all these mom and pop shops that you can, anything you want, we have. If you want to go to, like, take a trip to Tuscaloosa and go to Target, you can, but, like, you don't have to. And so I think you might have sold me on Mississippi State, too. So that's pretty incredible.
Oh, well, thanks.
I know.
And I also have to whisper, I know this is going to be earth-shattering. We also have the internet.
We do. We do.
We have an Amazon Prime fulfillment factory.
Oh, that's cool.
Less than a mile from my house.
I didn't know that. Where?
So, in the new industrial park.
That would be close to your house, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, we have the things.
So, y'all come to Mississippi State.
And now, GTR, American Airlines, and Delta.
Mm-hmm. We're big time, actually.
You can go anywhere from here.
Is there, we're kind of coming up. I don't want to keep you I don't want to keep you too much longer. Love that you came on, and people love to come on this podcast and be like, I don't know what I have to say, but I have loved this so much. I'm going to ask you two more questions. One, just because it's near and dear to my heart as a Bulldog who loves Mississippi State. I'm not a prospective student anymore. If you were trying to convince somebody to move back to Starkville, what would be your pitch to them?
It's home. It's home, and people take care of each other. And I would compare, I'm sure you know Nicholas Cobb and Karis Cobb,
Great people.
Great people. And you make a town what you put into it. So whether you're going to move to New York City, where you're going to move to Chicago, where you're going to move to Starkville, people just cheer for you, and they're going to invite you to things whether you want to go or not. Probably invite you too many times. We have so many different church options. So no matter where or how you want to worship, you can do that here. If you don't want to worship, you don't have to do that. I would just say that it is so family friendly, meaning if you yourself, you're your family, or if you're married, if you're dating, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, there's always something to do. So, I know, like, our church 2 weekends ago, we had beer and hymns at Dave's Dark Horse Tavern.
That's sweet.
And we got together and we sung hymns, and people drank beer and ate appetizers.
That's pretty great.
So there's things like that, or you can go to different churches and not do those kind of things if that's not your jam. You can go to the move. I mean, it really is like just such a community here, and the campus has so many different activities, whether it's big guest speakers. They're here all the time. And then like SEC Nation was here last weekend. And one thing that really has kept us here, like I said, is the people, but too, we love going to New Orleans. It's like 4 hours on the dot from New Orleans. You can get to Memphis super fast. You can get, really everywhere is 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then you can get on a flight. You can drive to the airport that's 15 minutes away.
That's right there.
So, I mean, we are a smaller town, but you can do anything here, I think.
I think that was a good sell. That was really good.
So, yeah.
Did you able to go to some SEC Nation stuff last weekend?
Yes.
Campus looked, it looked so awesome. I'm just, again, if people are still listening to this, because I'm just not talking about Mississippi State, thank you for still listening. But God, I couldn't go last weekend, and it just looked incredible. A win would have been nice, but it just looked so fun.
It was incredible. And I think that's a good example too, like as we wrap up, but we got together a photo shoot. You were in the last SEC photo shoot that we did.
I was.
SEC Nation. Yep. So we did another one, and there was a guy named Alex. He was on the SEC Nation crew, and he was like, so how do you be gifted your first cowbell? And I was like, Alex, say less. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And guess what Alex had in 10 minutes?
I'm happy for
Alex. His first cowbell.
Good for him.
His first cowbell. So that's how we're going to treat you. And you don't meet a stranger here.
Yeah. It's a family. We'll say that about their places, but I think it's true in Starkville, Mississippi.
No doubt. No doubt. And it's because of people like you.
By people like you, like the Vanhorns. All right, last question, and we'll wrap up. If you I like to ask people, if you were the host of Southern Fried, if roles were reversed and you needed to get somebody on the show, who is somebody you think people would benefit from hearing on the Southern Fried podcast?
Probably my dad.
Yeah, your dad would be good. He lived in Old Main?
Just a character, and he lived in Old Main. He likes to remind people he did get out of Old Main, obviously.
Yeah, we got that. We put that together.
Yeah, but man, just the stories he has. I mean, he has seen it. He has seen it all. He was the student body president from 61, 62. I mean, lived through the civil rights movement and talks
Wow.
about how my family handled that. And, I mean, the good, bad, and the ugly, and
Yeah.
how you embrace people. I mean, he has just seen a lot in his lifetime. And he was a Bulldog. He was student body president here, after president of his fraternity, like a
Yeah.
dog through and through. So, I mean, I
That's a
guess
great answer.
truthfully and as a joke, my dad. But then there's so many just good salt of the earth people like Octavia grew up in Alabama, so
Yeah.
she's super Southern. But yeah, opportunities are endless.
That was good. Your dad would be fun if he's ever open to it. If you ever flip that by.
I would have to
maybe.
explain to him what this was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it may not be worth our trouble, but I can talk to him. Legend.
There's some good there. And look, all Mississippi people, Starkville people, it's a good place.
It's a great place. We would love, if you're looking for a college home, I'll make my plug.
Do it.
Come visit.
Can you give a quick 30-second pitch to because you
Yes.
gave it to me. If like you're young to live there, why should students go to Mississippi State? And we'll end on this.
For sure. Mississippi State is an incredible land grant institution in Starkville, Mississippi. We have over 23,000 students, but that may seem overwhelming. But I promise, if you are walking on the drill field right now or at 8 o'clock in the morning, you are going to see at least 12 people that you know and recognize. Teachers are incredible. We're going to embrace you for who you are. Activities. And then I think what you can't argue with is we are USA Today's best small town in the South.
That was great. Hail State.
Apply. Hail State. Go
All right.
Dogs.
Thank you, Avent. Thanks for jumping on.
Of course. Anytime. Happy and thrilled, and it was a pleasure.
All right. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Charlie.
All right, y'all. That's a wrap on another episode of Southern Fried. I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation with Avent. I knew a lot of it kind of going into it, but I learned a lot to getting to talk with her. And it was just a lot of fun getting to hear more and more about her story and her life and her time on the Help and her time at Mississippi State, and just getting to talk about that a little bit. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I did. I'm having a lot of fun right now just talking to a lot of friends and reaching out to people. And if there is somebody that you think should be on an episode of Southern Fried, please reach out. If you've reached out to me before, don't think I haven't reached out to a lot of the people, waiting to hear back, and you trying to always figure out schedules. But if you tell me somebody to interview, I really take that to heart, and I really would love to have them on the show. I want this show to be built on the people that make the South what it is. We are exploring the South through its people. So please tell me of anybody that you think should be on the show. I would love to get them on, to get to talk with them and hear about their life. I thank you guys just for listening. Please share, like, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, all that stuff that we say every week. But it is really helpful when you do those things. Thank y'all for listening, and y'all come on back.